Alright guys, we're back for another Dokkan Battle video. So we're gonna do a top 10 yellow coin LRs. We just got a yellow coin LR, the LR Ginyu Force, a great character. We get more characters designed like LR Ginyu and LR Bulma, and the game is just gonna be a lot more fun. When you have a character like Ginyu or Bulma, that can really help characters that are maybe a little weaker, slightly weaker, kind of get up a little bit more on par. So I do think them tossing more of these out is a really, really good idea. Now, I think Ginyu, I probably could have slid him in at 10, I think, on an LR tier list. Like all LRs, right? Dokkan Fest LRs, Carnival LRs, getting all of them in. I think I could slide Ginyu, the Ginyu Force, at about 10. But I decided to update the yellow coin LR list anyway. I do think it maybe this is a mistake. Because, okay, let's jump in. So, at 10, I have Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku. At 9, I have Baby. Now, these guys are not very good. Just saying it outright. They're not super great. This guy, I found to be very effective in the Cell Max fight. The Cell Max fight, you know, it is very tough, but it can be very gimmicky, because a character like this guy felt like he was okay when he came out during the 8th anniversary, but, like, you know, now against the Cell Max fight, he could be pretty effective. Now, maybe mine works better than most people because mine has full dodge, and that could really help him against those Cell Max hits, but, you know, once you get a couple of turns in, this guy's Seal plus attack debuff combo is very effective. He's Rainbow Orb changing, and he can be a nice option, a nice tool for Saiyan teams to keep Cell Max in check. Baby, I don't know. Like, this might be a bit of a stretch even having Baby on here. Like, I use Baby a bunch in the Beast Gohan fight, and Baby does almost nothing. It's crazy, because he has all key blasts, and that Ultimate Gohan is just blocking everything. But kind of the similar thing, I think Baby can be very effective against Cell Max. If we look at the bottom, like, I think the top 8 is fine. But, like, Baby, Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku, I think LR Rose could be talked about, maybe. LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who I'm not really a fan of. LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku, like, I don't really want to go down an argument path with characters a lot of why would you use them. Like, I don't, because, like, people are going to want to use every character, right? Like, but this guy really does, like, his kit, like, he feels like a mess. I don't, like, I can't, I hate his design. Like, the more and more you use that character, I just hate his design so much. That Super Saiyan 3 Goku. He could do a big attack stat. He could have defense if you're not going for his damage, but I just don't like him. LR Super Boo, I don't really have, you know, in the running here either. He definitely is in this range. But I don't, like, I'm not a big fan of LR Super Boo either. There's not really a good spot for him. I wouldn't run him against Cell Max. I don't know. I guess you could. I'm not big on LR Super Boo. I guess it is nice that, like, Boo tanks exist, but I mean, how many links do they even share? I almost want to double check that. Like, they don't even have their best links together, do they? They have 5? Okay, well, that's with Boo tanks. So, what do we got? Metamorphosis, Checking Speed, Wall Standing Tall, Fear and Faith, Majin, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. What about when we swap over to Buhan? He's still at 4. I guess, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Boo. Like, this, when, again, 9 to, like, 14 is just very up in the air. Like, again, we can kind of grab him, Boo, God Goku, Super Saiyan 3. Yeah, like, this is all just kind of, I don't, like, do whatever you want to. I don't know. Like, I don't really know, like, what, because it's like some of them have specific spots, specific situations where they could sort of help. it's like once we get above that to like the top 8, I think is where things kind of like get a little bit more like good characters. It's a little iffy. Next here we have LR Golden Frieza. LR Golden Frieza I think is still like a really good option for the Cell Max fight, because, you know, once you get past the first couple of turns, you can begin to lock them down with like stuns and seals. Most of these characters are not super serious options in Supreme Battle Spectacle fights. Baby and Spirit Bomb Goku. I mean, Rose can do a little bit, but that's mostly like the Gogeta fight. He has type advantage against the tech one. Maybe you pop the active. But like these yellow coin LRs, a lot of these guys, they're just not up to par with where content has gone. You could probably grab Beerus and Whis and get them in here as well. Yeah. It's just, I think it's a mess. It's a mess down here. It is a true disaster. Maybe by the time I finish this, we could talk it out. Maybe I will just leave Super Buu at 10. Bro, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, Golden Frieza pretty solid. I have Vegeta and Nappa one spot above Golden Frieza, because I feel like with Vegeta and Nappa's exchange, you know, you have the guaranteed Nappa dodge turn, and then Vegeta for a couple of turns could at least be okay, right? Like if he gets a super attack off first, like, you know, he gets a lot of buffs against super class enemies. Like he's like okay-ish. Like he's got like a nice bag of different abilities he could go into. Only reason I put them a little bit above Frieza is that Frieza feels more like the Cell Max fight of like the super relevant fights. Like Frieza's still solid, but I mean at this point Frieza's about to be 2 years old in 2 months, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, something like that seems fine. Then we have 16, 17, 18. They're still solid. I mean, they're definitely like, you know, pretty heavy dodge or die. But with kind of like their support, their dodging, 16 is still a character with reasonable strength. You could run this character on Android 21's team, and they certainly can be a nice help on that team. To me, they feel a bit better than kind of like the Golden Frieza and Vegeta and Nappa tier. One thing people got to remember with like some of these dodge characters is, yeah, they could easily get cooked. But it's like, dude, I don't like Rose, like just dies in all these situations, right? Like I do think that people like they're too eager to just say dodge sucks rather than looking at it from the other side of the mirror, which is, oh, all these other characters I'm capping for would just fucking die in the same spot anyway. At least the dodge characters have got a chance. That's why, like, when it gets to a big power creep like this, it becomes difficult because, like, a lot of these characters are just food at this point. And it's like, you know, like, we could put, like, God Goku right here because he at least can dodge. But what happens if he doesn't dodge? He's just food like the other characters right here. So it gets very... Do I just say a matter of preference? I don't know. I don't know. All right, moving on. So there's like a significant jump right here up to Ribrianne. Like this is where we actually get into like the really good, like I think 16, 17, 18, they're very solid. But like Ribrianne does feel like a bigger jump. The Ribrianne, Rosie, and Kakunsa. This to me feels like a very easy character to run. They're relatively tanky. I mean, provided they attack first, but there's really only a powerful AoE. I mean, I think the Fusion Zamasu fight is still reasonable to like, you know, kind of like factor into unit rankings. But only really Gogeta Blue at the end has an AoE, and you could pretty easily just save their giant form. Remember that they have the incredibly powerful giant transformation, just like Orange Piccolo has. Piccolo's is a little bit better than Ribrianne's, but Ribrianne's is still like the main strength of both of them. Both active skills actually do have that. There are some minor issues I have with this character that does annoy me a lot. I feel like this I don't get very often, where they have to be above 66% HP to actually do the attack. I feel like maybe it's because I'm usually running this character on special pose, but their orb changing feels to be very obnoxious to me. They create way too many orbs, because this is a character that, like, I'm typically running in slot 3. So they create all these tech orbs, which I guess it's good for like Ginyu, but it doesn't help the Gammas, right? Like all these tech orbs. Maybe if this is a character that could get, 10 orbs and then go and slot one easily, they would be one on this list, probably. Like if they got, I don't know, what's something that would be, I mean, if they got 10% damage reduction per tech orb, that'd be too good, right? I don't know. What if they got 5% damage reduction per tech orb? That could be interesting. And then you could keep this exactly the same. I don't know, maybe something like that. That would still, I mean, I don't know, that might not be enough. It's funny, 10% damage reduction per tech orb, and they're, top 5 unit in the game. 5% per tech orb for damage reduction, and it's like they're much better, but yeah, that even probably would be strong. Regardless, they're good. They're good. This is a good character. I feel like they were helped a lot for a couple of reasons. Their teams, like the spots you could use them on, are much better after the 9th anniversary. And then, of course, the 9th anniversary fights, like, but before, the 2 major fights had very strong int AoE bosses, like a direct counter. Like, it's, like class disadvantage, type disadvantage, and, they get a lot of their defense when they super. Now, those are not really issues that happen, right? So there's that. Next, we have Broly, Chi, and Lemo, and then we can grab STR UI right here. Now, I feel like this is just a thing that, like, a lot of people don't agree, but, again, people have, like, this real hatred for dodge characters. For some reason, people love Broly, Chi, and Lemo, even though they're a dodge character. I never really figured that out. Certainly, they have... Where is it? Right here. The strongest ability you could have in the game, which is 100% dodge. But you still need 7 key spheres to get that, which... It can be a tall task when you're not creating them yourself. They can. This is not going to get you the 7 orbs with regularity. But obviously this will right here. This is like a ridiculously powerful ability. I adore this. I think this is really, really good to have. So like you enter the turn below 39% HP. You get a full HP regen. They have guaranteed dodge. They're double supering. They do good damage, right? They're going to give movie boss and super bosses, allies, this little extra damage reduction. For most characters, it's not going to make the biggest deal, but there's characters like Broly, I think LR Ribrianne. Like, there's some characters that can make good use out of that extra 10% damage reduction right there. This is a good character, though. I would consider myself a Broly, Chi, and Limo defender. I've had them die an awful lot, but, I mean, I wouldn't say I've had them die more than UI. I mean, UI dies just as much as them, because they both fall into dodge or die, is what both these characters are. I would put UI above them, because for him... it really is just the easy 70% chance to dodge. And you can kind of just throw him on a team and kind of like move him back and forth. Again, I'm not going to heavily defend this guy because this guy is in the Hirudegarn class for me where he does not dodge for me very often. But it's very easy with these teams he's on, the links he has, the role he could serve as a turn of power Goku to work pretty effectively on these teams. And really, my only reason of having him above Broly, Chi, and Lemo is that, they're going to need 7 orbs to have the guaranteed dodge, and UI just has 70% pretty much for free. I mean, it is for the first 7 turns, but it's essentially for free. They can, of course, even get this. Like, when you get this, whew, that shit is too good. But, like, they're close. Like, it's not the biggest deal. Next, we get our darling Bulma-chan. Bulma has definitely fallen off a bit, for sure. Like, she's not as crazy as she once was, like LR Future Gohan, Orange Piccolo, 23rd World Tournament Goku, a lot of those characters. But Bulma's still good. Bulma is still really easily usable. Between her orb changing and her multiple turn support, she's just really strong. Active skill is good. What it is, though, is that defensively, once this is done, you gotta be real careful with Bulma. Like, right around this turn is where you potentially could lose that 7, or right around, like, the end of the Gogeta fight, is probably where you could start to lose that or something like that. That's something that can be an issue. I don't feel like I've ever really felt that with UI, too. that because he drops from the 70% chance to the 50% chance from the 8th turn. Doesn't really seem like that's a huge factor in runs I've had. Because I feel like typically if UI is dying, it's early in the fight, not usually late in the fight. Like Cell Max, how many clips do I have of this guy getting walloped by Cell Max? But then again, we could pull up 50 clips of every character. Bulma's still good. Not really slot 1 like she was a lot of 2023, but still very effective. And then obviously number 1 is the LR Goku Force. They do feel like kind of just like a better version of Bulma. They feel like kind of like a stronger version of Bulma. You know, like their active is significantly better. You know, unless they start out in slot 7, we'll be able to do this before Bulma can do hers. But because they have the stupid from start of turn nonsense, if they start out in slot 7, you're not going to be able to pop it until turn 7. But they're active. This is a permanent buff for, like, look how dumb this is. This is absolutely insane, right? That shit is crazy. Their support is nuts. They have pretty reasonable defense. I've found that once the active goes up, I really do like their tanking ability, even against a lot of big, like, Beast and stuff like that. Cell Max, like if they've got the active up in slot 1, they can hang in there, right? Like, I've seen them take, you know, 450-ish from, like, Cell Max and stuff like that. Like, it's pretty solid for the amount of support that they bring. I do feel like the biggest thing that is driving me crazy is the way people think about this. This is, like, an illusion. Like, a trick. Like, I don't know, people just see, like, the ability to stack, and, like, they, you know, just, like, go caveman brain. Oh, my God, must stack. But most of the time, you're going to be much better off just going for... where is it written here? Bro, these walls of text, bruh. It's right here. This. In many situations, it's pretty difficult to get this 2-turn support up, which is huge for this character, and then also try and aim for the 15 key. Because remember, they are restricted to just a special pose team. I don't really have so much of an issue with that if the character's going to be this impactful, which they make Topo, Gotenks, Ribri, all these characters, the Gammas, they all just feel so crazy with this Ginyu, LR Ginyu Force support up, right? Like, it's so nuts, the amount of help that they're giving these characters. So I don't really mind the sort of special pose restrictions, but because basically the entire team has this, and the other thing too is a lot of the characters, a lot of the Topos, all 3 Topos you probably would run, the 2 Topo, like lead Topo, friend Topo, plus Topo Pride Trooper, all have signature pose. It could be very tough to even aim for this. I don't really know what the purpose of this was. I really don't get it. And then even if you do get this, it's only a 50% chance that you get the actual good part of it. Attack stacking on this character, it does nothing. It's pointless. So I'm not really too sure about that. But then they've also got this nasty ass extra support right there. This character's really good. So in terms of kind of like this is how I have it looking right here. Yeah, the only thing is, again, the end, like, Super Boo, I don't know. I just don't. Super Boo, man. It feels pretty rough. Goku Black was feeling kind of rough trying to use him. I'm just, like, when you're talking about this, like, it is very difficult, I think, to kind of, like, go through this mess of characters. Like, this entire row down here. Does anyone else need to be added here? No. This entire row, I'm not really too sure what to do with. It's like, they're just not really that impressive. So, I don't know. I guess I should make a decision. Like, I'm gonna tweet this, like, bro, like, I almost just, like, I'm putting all these characters at 10. I almost want to put Baby in there as well. Like, these characters are all, like, spots 9, let's see, so 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Spots 9 to 15, bro, just do whatever y'all want with it. I'm not making... Yeah, bro, what do you, what are we supposed to do with that spot? I guess here, let me hold on. Yeah, I guess I would just kind of like rinse it up like that. I don't know. What about base Goku? Like, could we add him into this mix as well? Like, certainly we could, but it's like he doesn't contribute very much either. We just have a whole mess of these yellow coin LRs that are just not very crazy. I don't know, man. It's kind of a mess. I kind of would just leave it like looking like this, I think. Let me know what you guys think of yellow coin LRs. The good news is that I think the top 5 is pretty solid. Like, all of the top 5 can give you a nice effective run in Supreme Battle Spectacle, Cell Max, any of the Red Zone stages. I mean, Ribrianne, Rosie, and Kakunsa, they'll still get cooked against Omega without the giant form, or Fusions of Monster or something like that, right? Broly-chan, Lemo, and UI, they could get smoked everywhere, you know, if either they dodge or they don't dodge. Bulma can get cooked. The LR Ginyu Force, I mean, they do definitely feel better than a lot of the rest of the characters. I don't know about putting them a full tier up, though. The Ginyu Force. Because it's like their impact is very similar to Bulma's. It's just that they're way better. Like, they can effectively go in slot 1 a lot. I mean, Bulma can early in the fight, or if Bulma specifically has her guard still up, plus the active and, you know, the built-up damage reduction, she could go slot 1-ish. Probably. Against, like, you know, some of those bosses. We'll leave it like this. Let me know what you guys think about yellow coin LRs.